Now in today's lecture, we will look into the limitations of Bohr's model of atom and what lead to the failure of Bohr's model of atom, right? Although we know that before Bohr's model of atom, we studied about Rutherford model of atom, right? And historically also, Rutherford model of atom came before Bohr's model of atom, right? And there were some shortcomings in the Rutherford model of atom, right? So Bohr improved the Rutherford model of atom, right? And he gave another model of atom, Bohr's model of atom, right? And Bohr's model of atom was successful in explaining the energies of electrons revolving around the nucleus in concentric circles, and it was able to explain that the nucleus has various energy levels, right, in which electrons are moving, right, and electron will keep moving in one particular orbit unless an energy is given to the atom. When an energy is given to the atom, it will move to a higher energy state, right, and when it will lose energy, right, that excited electron will come back to its ground state, right. So when it will come back to the ground state, it will emit radiation, right, and that emit radiation will cause line spectrum, right. So this was the reason for the formation of line spectrum of hydrogen atom, right. So it successfully explained the line spectrum of hydrogen atom that it generated due to the emission of radiation when an electron jumps from the higher energy level to the lower energy level, because we know that the excited level of electron is short-lived, right. It has to move back to the lower energy level or to the ground state immediately. Almost immediately it returns to its ground state energy level. And in spite of all these successes, in spite of all these explanations in the as per the Bohr's model, right, it also has some limitations, right. Now let's look at the limitations of Bohr's model of atom. The first limitation of Bohr's model of atom was it could not explain the spectra of multi-electron atoms, right. And when we say that Bohr's model could explain the spectra of atoms, it could explain the spectra of only hydrogen and hydrogen-like atoms, right. When we say hydrogen-like atom, it's right, Bohr's model, it could explain spectra of hydrogen and hydrogen-like atoms, like example helium, right, helium and other other atoms that have only one electron. So it could explain the spectra of only single electron atom, right. So only it could explain the spectra of only atoms that contain or that have one electron, right. It could explain spectra of hydrogen and hydrogen-like atoms. Hydrogen contains only one electrons, so hydrogen-like atoms like helium plus also contains only one electron, right. So it could only explain the spectra of hydrogen and hydrogen-like atom that contains only one electron, right. So the first limitation was it failed to explain the spectra of multi-electron atom, to explain the spectra of multi-electron atoms like helium, right. Helium has 2 electrons, right. So it could not explain the spectra of helium atom, but it could explain the spectra of, if you like at this point, helium He plus. He plus contains only one electron, but He contains 2 electrons. So it failed to explain the spectra of multi-electron atom like helium, right. So, and there is one more shortcoming. It could not explain the fine structure, right, even in case of hydrogen atom. The hydrogen atom, if you remember, this was the kind of spectra that we studied, that hydrogen atom, the spectra of hydrogen atom contains these closely spaced lines, right? But later, when these lines, right, or the radiations coming out of the spectroscope, if you remember the arrangement of spectroscope that we have studied earlier to obtain the spectrum of hydrogen atom, the radiations coming out of the spectroscope or these lines, right, we know that each line corresponds to a radiation of a specific wavelength, right, that is coming out of that spectroscope and is falling on the photographic film, right? But this Bohr's model of atom, right, could not explain the fine structure. Now let's see what is the fine structure. It failed to explain the fine structure. Fine structure is when these radiations, right, or these lines, right, that is coming out of the spectroscope was observed under a high resolving microscope, right? When it is observed under high resolving microscope, we find that even this single line, right, consists of closely spaced lines like this. This single line consists of closely spaced lines. That means this is not a single line, since when it is observed under a high resolving microscope, advanced microscope, this line was found to consist of two closely spaced lines, right? So this is the fine structure that consists of closely spaced lines. Bohr's model of atom could not explain what is the reason for this fine structure of spectrum, right? What is the reason for this fine structure could not be explained by Bohr's model, right? Or each line, right, when spectroscopes with a better resolving powers, right, when spectroscope we know is an arrangement, right, to obtain this line spectrum, right, of elements, right? So when we used a spectroscope that consists of high resolving power, right, when we observed these lines or the radiations, right, using high resolving spectroscope, right, or the microscope, we observed that each line consists of closely spaced lines, or this line is split up into these two lines, which is known as the fine structure. So the reason for these closely spaced lines observed using high resolving spectroscope could not be explained by Bohr's model of atom, right? And this was later, we will just look into the reason for this when we will study the quantum numbers. The reason for this was explained on the basis of azimuthal quantum number. Azimuthal quantum number denoted by L, right? We are not taking this in this lecture. We will be doing this in another lecture on quantum numbers, right? So it could not explain the spectra of multi-electron atoms. It could not explain the fine structure, that is the splitting of single line, right, when observed under high resolving spectroscope into these two lines, right? Bohr's model of atom could not explain this fine structure, right? So this is again one of its limitations, right? Now the another important limitation was, if you remember the arrangement of spectroscope, there was a discharge tube, right? Discharge tube has hydrogen gas inside it, right? When electric discharge was passed through it, it produced this kind of line spectra observed on the photographic film. Now what we will do is we will place that source of that discharge, if we place that discharge tube, right, in electric field or in magnetic field, right, the spectral lines, right, will get split up into multiple lines, right? Now this could not be explained by the Bohr's model of atom, right? Inability to explain the splitting of lines in magnetic field and in electric field, right? So inability to explain splitting of lines, these spectral lines, splitting of lines in magnetic field this is known as Zeeman effect. And electric field, this is known as Stark effect. Right? So basically what it means is, if we just go back into our previous lecture where we studied the line spectrum of hydrogen atom, if we look at the arrangement, what this point means is, if we place the discharge tube in magnetic field, right, the spectral lines that gets produced, right, on the photographic film, these lines will get split up into multiple lines when the source of radiation, that is the discharge tube, is placed in magnetic field, right. Similarly, if the source of radiation, right, is placed in the electric field, that also lead to the splitting of these spectral lines. That is, if this is the spectral line, it will get split up into multiple lines, right, in electric field or in magnetic field. When the source that is emitting the radiations is placed in magnetic field or electric field, is placed in electric or magnetic field, then each spectral line will get split up into multiple lines, right. So when the source of radiation is placed in magnetic field, right, the effect is known as Zeeman effect. What is the effect? Splitting of spectral line into multiple lines, right, in the presence of magnetic field. Similarly, when the source is placed in electric field, this spectral line is split up into multiple lines. So when the spectral line will split up into multiple lines in electric field, the effect is known as Stark effect, right. So the Zeeman effect and Stark effect could not be explained by Bohr's model of atom, right. So this is again its limitation, right. So this was later explained, we'll study in magnetic quantum number. We will study this in magnetic quantum number. So when we will study magnetic quantum number and azimuthal quantum number, we will consider the dual nature of electrons, right, that is its wave nature and particle nature, because here in Bohr's model we have considered only particle nature of electrons, that electrons are moving in circular orbits, and the Bohr has considered only the particle nature of electrons, not the wave nature, right. So when we will consider the wave nature of electron in quantum mechanical model, then we would be able to explain the Stark effect, the Zeeman effect, right, and the fine structure of hydrogen atom. So these are its important limitations. There is one more limitation, it could not explain formation of molecules from atoms, right, and their structures also. Bohr's model, we know that once we will complete the study of the atoms, if you look at the molecules, right, what is the reason that how could atoms combine to form molecules, right, that could not be explained by Bohr's model of atom, right. And the shapes of molecules, since it could not explain the reason for atoms combining to form molecules, so it could not also explain the shapes of molecules, right. Like if you talk about water molecule, it has a V shape, bent shape, right. Now today we know that there are two lone pairs of electrons, right, on oxygen atom, and we have bond pairs, then the repulsion between lone pair, bond pair, right. Based on that we could explain that water is V shaped, has a bent shape, water is a bent shaped molecule or V-shaped molecule, right? So all these formation of molecules from atoms could not be explained by the Bohr's model of atom, right? So these are its important limitation. There is one more limitation which you might find in some of the books, right? Inability to explain. It considers Bohr's model of atom considers the atom as one dimensional, right? Or it considered atom, or it gave the flat model of atom. Bohr gave the flat model of atom because he assumed that electrons are revolving around the nucleus in concentric circles in one dimensional. But later, when we study the wave nature of electron and the quantum nature of and the quantum model of atom, we will see that atom is three dimensional, right? So it did not talk about the three dimensional nature of atom or the three dimensional form of atom, right? So these are the important limitations, right? I'll repeat. It could not explain first the spectra of multi-electron atoms, right, like helium. It could only explain the structure, the spectra of hydrogen and hydrogen-like atoms, right? It failed to explain the fine structure, that is this when this spectral line, right, these spectral lines are observed under high resolving spectroscope. One line, right, one single line was observed to consist of two closely spaced lines. This is known as doublet. Two lines means doublet. So this could not be explained based on your Bohr's model of atom, right? Similarly, it could not explain the splitting of spectral lines in magnetic field, which is your Zeeman effect, and splitting of spectral lines in electric field, which is your Stark effect, right? The other is it could not explain the formation of molecules from atoms, right? So these are its important limitations which we need to know, right? Because all these limitations would be explained, or all these points, right, would be successfully explained once we consider the dual nature of electron. That is, electron, instead of behaving like a particle, it also behaves like wave, right, which was experimentally proved based on Thomson's model that the beam of electron will undergo diffraction. And there is one more experiment, Davison and Germer experiment, I guess, which said that when the beam of electron, right, is thrown on one of the atom, on the crystal, on one of the crystal, atomic crystal, we have done that in a different lecture, right? It will form the diffraction pattern, right? So the diffraction pattern that was observed by Davison and Germer in their experiment, right, and the diffraction of electron beam observed by Thomson in his experiment, that proved the wave nature of electron. So based on this wave nature of electron, we will have another model of atom coming up, which is known as your quantum mechanical model of atom, based on quantum mechanics, right? So what quantum mechanics does, quantum mechanics is a branch of science that will consider the dual nature of material particles. It will consider the wave nature as well as the particle nature of material particle of matter, right? Like in case of classical mechanics, which is again a branch of science, it only considers the particle nature of matter. It does not consider the wave nature. So quantum mechanics will deal with the particle nature as well as with the wave nature. So based on quantum mechanics, we will have another model of atom coming up, quantum mechanical model, right? So what lead to the failure of this model? First is, like I said, we will be studying the quantum mechanical model of atom, which will also consider the wave nature of electron, right? So first failure was that it did not consider the wave nature of electron, which we now is proved by Thomson's model and Davison and Germer model. And electron beam has undergone a diffraction, right, which was explained already by scientists in their experiments. So that was not taken into account in Bohr's model of atom. The second was, it contradicts it contradicts Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. And we know that as per Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, we cannot determine the position and velocity, right, of an electron or of any microscopic particle, right, at the same time, right. So as per Heisenberg uncertainty principle, we know that position and velocity, or we also say it as momentum, position and velocity could not be determined for microscopic particles like electrons, right, at the same time. But when Bohr explained his structure of atom, he said that electrons are revolving around these orbits, right. Electrons are revolving around these orbits. So what he is saying is that he fixed the position of an electron, right. He said that this is the position while saying that an electron is moving in an orbit, right, what he did actually, he defined the position of an atom, right. So since in this model of atom we have the position of electron, right, which are these circular orbits, right. He said that these are circular paths, circular orbits in which electrons are moving, right. So this contradicts your Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So this led to the failure of Bohr's model of atom. First is, it did not consider the wave nature of electron. The second is, it contradicts the wave nature of, contradict the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, right. Because as per Heisenberg uncertainty principle, you cannot go ahead and define the path like we did in Bohr's model of atom, right. And because Bohr's model said that the electrons are moving in fixed circular paths. These are the fixed circular paths, like I said, right. However, the path can be defined only if velocity and position of the elements are known, right. So path, since this circular path, we can only define this circular path if position and velocity is known, right. But as per Heisenberg uncertainty principle, this position and velocity cannot be known at the same time, right. So in a way, it has clearly, the Bohr's model of atom has clearly contradicted Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So this led to the failure of Bohr's model of atom. I'll repeat why it contradicted, because as per Bohr's model of atom, electrons are moving in this fixed circular path. That means he has fixed the path of these electrons, and path can only be fixed once you know the position and velocity, right. And as per Heisenberg, position and velocity cannot be determined simultaneously for microscopic particles. So this has led to the contradiction. So now we need another theory or another model of atom that will take into account the wave nature of electron, right, and it will also not contradict Heisenberg uncertainty principle, right. So that would be the wave mechanical model of atom that we will be doing in future lectures, right. So I repeat, we need a model of atom or a theory that will consider the wave nature of electron, and it should not contradict the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, right. That would be accomplished in wave mechanical model of atom, right, based on quantum mechanics, that we would be doing in future lectures. I hope this is clear to you. Thanks.